It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
A victory lap that I'll call epic. A triumphant return with President-elect Donald J. Trump. This gave fans who, if you were lucky enough to be there Saturday night, wow, people were saying, their heart was racing, butterflies, as you've never seen this kind of an epic return, triumphant, as President-elect Trump thanking his friend Dana White as well. Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. And this ovation, it really was epic. Listen and watch on YouTube.
And ladies and gentlemen, look who is now making his way to the world-famous octagon, flanked by UFC CEO Dana White, 45, soon to be 47, President-elect Donald Trump.
Wish the people at home could hear the sound in this room. It's so loud in here. It is so loud.
And of course, it really was something I've never seen anything like this. I don't know if America has ever seen or experienced anything like this. And I'll also say this, not only this ovation, the standing ovation that was so loud and unbelievable. But then as well, you have the President-elect Trump, and he's flanked by his team. When have you known an incoming team by their first names? Vivek, Tulsi. I don't need to say their last names, do I?
You don't.
So this is the team: Vivek, Tulsi, House Speaker Mike Johnson. I don't know if they know. They're like the conservative-looking dude with the glasses, but you know who he is when you see him. Kid Rock is
Eric
there.
Bischoff is Mike Johnson. Yeah.
What's that?
NWO at WCW is. I feel like that's what Trump's trying to emulate here. And there's this guy Eric Bischoff that was always kind of on the corner trying to make his way into the shot. That was Mike Johnson over the weekend.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Trump is trying to imitate anybody.
No?
I think he is redefining what it means to be the commander-in-chief. This is Trump. Nobody's been here. Nobody's done this. Because America, we've never seen this moment. We've never seen this day. I saw Eric there. I think Don Jr. was there. I did not see the Veep. Yeah, there's Don Jr. I did not see the vice president. So I wonder why no J.D. Vance. Was he there? Didn't see him. But the broadcast added that those able to stand inside the arena were doing so, as the video board, by the way, started playing a video montage for Trump's arrival. Everybody chanting USA. This was epic. I mean, it was unbelievable. And then John Jones, obviously Bo Nickel, all of these paying homage to all these fighters, and even John Jones, after his victory, then gives his belt to the president and then says, I was so nervous. And so why does this matter? Why is this so important that you're seeing this? Because it's this epic return for the Trump win, the Trump victory, and then looking into how did he win Pennsylvania? How did he win the country? So real quick here, I want to take you through, and I know in a moment I'm going to do a very hard pivot and bring you some heartbreak as I go through this, but I want you to understand what this means for America, why this is so critical. But when I look through the unofficial election results, and yes, the recount underway, I've talked about it since 6 o'clock this morning, but when we look at those unofficial election results, when you look at the increases that Trump was able to make, increasing the bounce off of the 2020 support and even 2016 support in most of the 65 of Pennsylvania's 67 counties, okay, with the only exceptions, Greene and Allegheny, where he held, but he was able to add nearly 148,000 votes off of last time. Trump also winning Erie as well as Northampton counties, I've talked a lot about. And you think about these stats, only 16 counties in the nation have followed their voting patterns of backing a Democrat. In 2008 and 2012, you think of Barack Obama, they switched to Republican in 2016, then back to Democrat, right? Biden 2020, and then finally back big time for Trump in 2024. And then two other counties, Bucks as well as Monroe, also flipping for Trump after backing Biden in 2020. So he literally broke through that so-called blue wall, just demolished the blue wall of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania to become only the second president elected to a second non-consecutive term. This was epic. It was historic. And Trump writes a new chapter in American politics. We've never seen anything like this. And of course, he takes the prize. He is the ultimate prize fighter, right? Because the biggest prize politically, us here in Pennsylvania, the Keystone State, he got the biggest prize winning this prize of the 7 swing states in the November 5th presidential election. It's incredible. Take the victory lap. Everybody's doing the Trump dance. And how did he do it? He kept it pretty simple. Make America great again. Fix the economy. Look at my record. Look at what I've done in the past. And this time around, and I believe because of this administration went way too far with the boogeyman. Oh, we're going to scare people. And then the pandemic shutdowns that Democrats did to all of us, and we're sick of it, right? All of that matters. Working people across the board. And everybody wanted to make it about the black vote, the women's vote. No, it's the people's vote, and it's mostly the working people's vote, and they just got it wrong. They're out of touch. I know we'll get to Mika and Joe and their big kissing of the ring, but now I take a hard turn as I think about the headlines over the weekend and the headlines this morning. What are we talking about? The two huge headlines. On one hand, you have that epic return that I keep talking about, historic, with Trump's triumphant victory lap at Madison Square Garden, right, MSG. At the same time, learning new details about Laken Riley, a young lady who is really the name and the face of the tragedy, the price of Democrats not caring about who they let in, but they wanted to let millions in to beef their voter rolls. I want you to listen to the 911 call that has been released, and this happened since we last spoke on Friday. This young lady, 22 years old, beautiful young nursing student in Georgia, hunted down, literally hunted down, allegedly, by a predator with a past who was not here legally, had slipped through the hands not once but twice of authorities in this country because of Democrats' sanctuary policies. There was no sanctuary to save this beautiful 22-year-old girl, her mom sitting front row in this courtroom as they played her 911 plea, as she pleaded for her life. And we know that she fought for 18 minutes. She fought. Listen to this 911 call.
9:12, you'll hear that the call was hung up, and I'm going to play the call for you. At 9:12, The call was hung up by the caller, not the 911 center. The 911 center did not hang up on Laken Riley. The phone hung up. And at 9:12, they tried to call her back, and there was no answer. And I'd like the court, when listening to the call, right about 55 seconds into the call, you're going to hear a voice.
Clark County 911. Hello, this is Clark County 911. Hello, Clark County 911. Can anyone hear me? Clark County 911.
Yo Tango. There is a long break, and what happens next?
So in this 911 call, which, by the way, that's one of the charges this scumbag is facing, but in that call, they were able to track through Riley's her Garmin watch, which, by the way, was a Christmas present we've later learned that was used for running, her iPhone. Investigators were able to determine that she placed that call right at 9:11 a.m., and that's just minutes after she left for her run at 9:03 a.m. That was her usual. And she then fought, they say, for another 17 minutes until her heart stopped at 9:28 a.m. And she was she was able to call 911. It's believed that that's her killer's voice captured there. And by the way, Tom Homan, right, who is Trump's pick for a border czar, he spoke out about this. Listen in.
So look, this administration has blood in their hands. I hope that every mayor and governor who supports sanctuary cities listens to that tape. Listen to the way that young lady died. I just want to be this young lady got killed. No, listen to her fight for her life for 17 minutes, fighting for breath, fighting to survive. This happens. She just one of many. Griff, you know, there's many stories under this administration that's happened, and there's many more we don't know about because sometimes sanctuary cities don't capture their foreign national citizenship, so it's not an end report, and they never contact ICE. So this is one of many, and it's disgusting, and President Trump is going to put a stop to this.
And so this issue that was poo-pooed by Democrats for so long, and even going so far as to say that anyone who questioned this preponderance of illegal people, and in this case, this guy, this accused killer, and one of the many counts against him is malice murder. In other words, this was torture as she was dying, as she was being choked to death, as her head was being bashed in. And I will say, even the judge, to his credit, because in their state, in Georgia there, they have cameras in the court. He ordered a 30-second delay on the feed. They're not allowed to show certain things or let you hear certain things, and in particular, never show the victim as not showing her body, her remains, okay, because they have that as part of the evidence. Her family in the courtroom seeing that. And so in this case, the court-appointed attorney has told the jury there's not enough evidence, but I will tell you that Friday and then this morning, what they have body cam video of those arresting officers going into this guy's apartment, showing the scratches, the nail scratches, looks like defensive wounds all over his arms and so on. And then the prosecution saying that, in fact, they have his DNA that they were able to scrape from her fingernails. They have DNA evidence on the clothing found at the scene and later. And so the prosecution's saying they've got this guy cold. But what's sick about this is that we know that through ICE officials, DHS sources, we know that this guy, and by the way, his brother certainly has known ties to the Venezuelan gang in the United States, known as Tren de Agua, okay? And we know that the prosecution or the defense attorney for this guy is trying to blame it on his brother.
Ugh.
But they were showing, that's why, Dan, it was critical that they would show the body cam, because they arrested his brothers, plural. They all came in illegally from Venezuela and allegedly have records there in Venezuela. But that was so important because they were showing all of this video of the arrest. When you see these guys, the only one with these scratches and clear defensive wounds is the guy they charged, the accused.
I do have the attorney giving out the evidence as to what would be presented if you want to hear that.
Yeah.
And in that fight, she caused this defendant to leave forensic evidence behind. She also marked her killer for the entire world to see. The forensic evidence that he left behind in this fight is his DNA, and only his DNA and Lakin's, underneath Lakin's right fingernails. He also left behind in a struggle with her over her phone, because the court will hear that she called 911. He left behind his left thumbprint.
So it's important to note that across the country, victims, and in particular, Laken Riley's family and mom, remember, attended his rallies, had asked him to speak of her, to attend the funeral, and they had, remember, Joe Biden had mispronounced her name, called her Lincoln, but the family was invited to attend the Biden, one of his State of the Union speeches. They had declined that invitation, and they had said that they hope that this violent, vicious murder by an illegal is the last that happens in this nation, that the price their daughter has paid will be the last in America, and that they put their faith in Trump to make America safe again. I think that it's obtuse and disgusting that our mainstream media ignored this family and others, ignored what they had to say, and it's why they were in that bubble. They did not understand how so many people in so many communities feel unsafe and felt that they were so compelled to vote this way as inspired by a grieving family. One of the reasons, yes, I think it was that's in the top two there, immigration, obviously with the economy, that was another obvious one, but this was discounted and not covered by the so-called mainstream media. Your thoughts this morning as we move through, and I know that I wanted to bring, Dan and I had talked about it earlier, we wanted to start with that positivity, but take you through the emotion of what this nation has been through as well, with this gripping trial as we see this graphic evidence and what at least one of these individuals, violent individual with a violent past, allegedly did to this young lady. 855-839-1210, the number to call. We'll take a quick break and take your calls on the other side. Much more to update you on. Be right back.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
Friday, March 21st.
That's right.
2025.
Yeah, Travis Mannion Radiothon. Well, we are going to, try and exceed $100,000. Is that what we raised for you guys last year?
Yeah.
The way that you support TMF and the way that you empower us to support the veterans and the families of the fallen that we support is just incredible. So thank you so much for all you do for us.
Thanks, Josh. We love you guys.
Thanks, buddy.
So we're going to continue this into next week because we've gotten an outpouring of support. Veterans Month. We're just going to do this for the entire month.
That's right.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. One of the biggest, healthiest sales of the year is back again. Rescue Natural Supplements Black Friday sale is here. Right now, Rescue is slashing prices on every supplement with discounts up to an incredible 80% off. Rescue has a wide variety of products to address your health needs, including immunity and cholesterol support, heart health, and natural energy enhancers. Grab huge savings on omega-3s, probiotics, and a lot more. And one more thing, this Rescue Black Friday sale will run the entire month of November. So shop today at res-q.com, res-q.com, or call a Rescue product consultant at 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Again, all Rescue supplements are up to 80% off during the entire month of November, so why wait? Shop massive savings on essential supplements right now at res-q.com. Do it today.
There's a reason that potato chips don't come in a clear bag.
There's only 8 chips in this bag.
That's why. It's only about 2/3 full. The rest is air. It's a lot like opening up your 401k at retirement. You get about 2/3 of it, and the rest goes to Uncle Sam. Jim Cipriotti at the Retire Ready Financial Group can help. His tax mapping process can help forecast what your tax bill will be in the future, and that way you can build a strategy now to potentially decrease your tax bill in retirement. In other words, more for you and less for Uncle Sam. Call today for your complimentary retirement tax mapping report, 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415. Or find them online at retirereadyfg.com and get Uncle Sam's greedy hands out of your retirement.
Hey, you've had enough.
With a complimentary tax mapping report from Jim Cipriotti. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
Got a shopping list a mile long but need to charge your EV? No problem. Now you can fill up your cart and your battery at the same time. With a convenient network of Shell recharge stations at some of your favorite shopping spots, you can get everything done in one trip. Shop for groceries, clothes, and more while your EV charges up. And never miss a beat. Shell Recharge. Download the Shell app today to find the nearest Shell Recharge location. For more information on locations and how Shell measures reliability, visit shell.us/Shell Recharge.
Need new doors and windows, but not high-pressure sales tactics?
If so, give Emmons a call today. At Emmons, we provide top-notch installation service with a focus on quality and customer satisfaction with brands like Anderson and Provia Windows and Doors.
And you can upgrade your home today with our energy-efficient options, which help save you money.
Call us today at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Hey girl, it's your new night guy, Jimmy Fallon in the house from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and free on the Odyssey app.
So we'll continue to bring you all of the updates from this trial. It's playing out. It is televised. That's their state law. As the judge has said, nobody's allowed to react or talk about when they're playing these videos, emotional body cam footage of the officer who finds Laken Riley's body. That was shown in court when he's exclaiming on the scene there, "I'm not getting any pulse," and he's, trying to say, "Ma'am, ma'am," and trying to revive her. And her mother just silently sobbing in court on Friday, today. And some people saying maybe you shouldn't be here to the parents, but they've said no. We will be here. We will be here throughout the trial because they want justice for their daughter.
Officer Maxwell's audio if you wanted that. I don't know do you want that?
I don't know. You know what? I'll go through the updates. And let's think about it. It's just
it's tough. It's tough.
I'm not in no way are Dan is a sensitive, loving person. In no way are we trying to sensationalize this. That's the line you walk in a trial like this, where the family wants this. They want you to say her name. That was the hashtag, because at first Democrats, Biden, Harris, they would not even say Laken Riley's name. And as well, they wouldn't say many of the names of these victims across the country, by the way. Obviously, the youngest victim, 12 years old in Texas. And so they want you to know the name. They want you to know the brutality of this murder because they want you to understand the level of violence of people who were unvetted, who were allowed to come into this country, and how serious this is. And this is why Trump has said, hey, day one, we will focus on getting the criminals out, the terrorists. And by the way, just yesterday they reported that off the coast of California, boatloads full of individuals from and some of the countries they are countries that are Uzbekistan. Why are these Uzbekistani individuals and China? They're coming from. They're sneaking in on boatloads of individuals coming into California. So this is something where people from around the world. It's not one particular group. They're coming here. Why is that? And so this is the question. So Trump, I think, hit a chord here with people who say, yeah, we should, at the very least, maybe you want to debate that you want to let more people in legally. But I think everybody pretty much across the board, no matter who you are, agrees, yeah, we need to vet people. You can't just open up the gates and just let at least 12 million come in. That's the minimum. And by all accounts, it could be up to 22 million. We're not sure. Among them, at least 100 known on the terror watch list. So 855-839-1210. I do want to pivot back, and we have to keep talking about the updates with regard to this recount that is underway in Pennsylvania. Court appearances. I know there's one today at 1 o'clock this afternoon. There's another one tomorrow morning. We don't have any ruling yet from the highest court in Pennsylvania as far as, them ruling on the fact that these counties admit knowingly that they're recounting ballots that are, by all accounts, illegal. They're doing it. They know they're not supposed to do it, and we're awaiting that ruling from Pennsylvania's high court. With that, 855-839-1210, Big Al, Mullica Hill. Hey, you.
Hey, Dawn. How you doing?
Good morning.
First of all, on a personal thing, I called in last month and mentioned that I was going to get triple bypass surgery.
We've been
and
praying
you said,
for you. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Day 27 of my long, slow recovery, but God is awesome, and it's just everything is going fantastic. And I just wanted to let you know I appreciate you very much. Now,
thanks for calling and letting us know.
Is this woman in Bucks County? Is she an elected official?
The commissioner?
The one?
Sure.
The one that's okay. Well, why is she thrown right off there, blatantly not following the laws? They're supposed to be following the laws, and I don't understand that. There's no repercussions. There's no penalties for these people that are not following the law. This is why we're becoming a lawless society, and the Democrats are the leaders and all this kind of stuff. And this is what bothers me so much, that she should be yanked off there, and if there's a prosecution that they could do, whatever they could do, just to stop this illegal stuff, just so blatantly in your face type of things.
Yeah, and we've played the audio. We played it last week. We played it this morning again on Kale and Company, that these two of the three, in other words, you're outnumbered in Bucks County. So it's two Democrats versus the one Republican who voted correctly. But, by all accounts, you can't just say, well, I decided that I want to shine a light on
this.
Not
going to second that, mostly because I think we all know that precedent by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country, and people violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to it.
So this is a board, it's a board member. And so, the fact that Diane Marseglia in this case is speaking out about it and doubling down on the fact that she's saying, I know that I'm doing something illegal, but because people basically break the law all the time, I get to break the law. I know I'm breaking the law. And so I hope that at the very least, the next time around, when these commissioners, and by the way, the board chairman, Robert Harvey, Jr., he's there. They both the Dems, they voted to violate this. And so I would hope at the very least they're held accountable by Bucks County voters, right? This is not right.
Yeah, isn't this election denial, or whatever they want to call it? That's what they accused Trump of doing. And I mean, here, see, the Democrats don't follow the laws, and this has been going on for the last couple of years. And it just makes me sick that nothing's happening with these people. Someone should prosecute or not only break a law, whatever, remove from her position because they're in that position to enforce the laws.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so
and
much.
One last thing about Lincoln Riley.
Yes.
If this isn't a death penalty case, there isn't. Yeah, and some of these scum that are killing people in America, they should have electric bleachers instead of electric chairs. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. And we're so thankful to get your update, and you sound great. Actually, you sound strong. As far as this goes, though, I just want to point out that Philadelphia city commissioners as well voted to count those illegal ballots. They knew that they were undated. They knew they were incorrectly dated. They knew they were illegal. It's a smaller number. But I will tell you the combo deal, right, from Philadelphia, Bucks, Montgo, and at least one other county, what they did was they bumped up the numbers. And that's what I think it was purposeful. I think they wanted to make sure that they would trigger that recount. I have reported, I'll report to you again, that that Republicans, I should say, filed a petition to the Pennsylvania Supreme Court against all counties that may attempt, to stop all these counties from counting these types of illegal ballots. And that's what's at the high court level. I reported on that on Thursday. So we're still awaiting that ruling. But even the AP, for crying out loud, the Inquirer acknowledges that the numbers, if you do the math, there's no way that Casey Jr., the incumbent, can overcome these numbers. Dave McCormick is the senator-elect. We've congratulated him, and this should be, I just wish Casey would concede, do the right thing, save the Commonwealth a minimum of $1 million, maybe $2 million. That's my take on this. 855-839-1210 is the number to call. But I got to tell you, we are off to paradise once again. The Italian Riviera gastronomical events, which only the one and only Conservative Tours can deliver. And they do deliver, trust me. Join me for 11 luxurious days with the professionals from Conservative Tours, the best tour operator in all of Italy, A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, Portofino, Rapallo, Santa Margherita, Ligure, Tuscany, and the brilliant Cinque Terre, 5378. Yes, that includes your airfare. The 5378 includes the airfare. Dining events at the wineries in Tuscany, even an authentic farm visit to see Parmesan cheese being crafted by hand. Call toll-free 888-733-9494. Go to conservativetours.com. You'll see the itinerary. You'll see some of the pictures of the hidden Italian villages you've never seen in person before, like Giacomo Puccini's San Gimignano, Leaning Tower of Pisa, Florence, Milan, and concluding on the Lakes region with Bellagio, Orta, and Isola Bella. Join me next spring in Italy. I'll see you in Cinque Terre. ConservativeTours.com. Tell Dawn sent you.
You may have heard, Wawa has pizza. And right now, Wawa has pizza at a really great price.
Wawa has personal pizza for a night of gaming.
And it's only $6.
Wawa has pizza for when we don't want to cook.
And a 14-inch is $8.
Wawa has pizza for after practice.
A 16-inch to feed the team, $10. Right now, get a personal 14 or 16-inch Wawa pizza for just $6, $8, or $10. Wawa has pizza for all at a really great price.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano at Batteries Plus Bulbs in Mount Laurel and Northfield. My friend Roy is looking for help. A handy do-it-yourselfer would be ideal. It's a great low-pressure environment with both full-time and part-time jobs available. Plus, if you're the entrepreneurial type, Roy is always interested in bringing in new services. But above all, customer service key. If you're willing to do what it takes to help, you need to talk to Roy. Be part of it. They power it, they light it, they fix it. Call 856-638-0778. Batteries Plus Bulbs, Mount Laurel and Northfield.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-511-3535. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider, 800-511-3535. That's 800-511-3535. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-511-3535.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now. You can't hide your lying eyes, and your smile is in disguise.
So we talk all the time about conspiracy theorists, and usually it's on the right that these conspiracy theories are associated perhaps with those on the right. But what about the left, right? And what are the implications of Donald J. Trump's election victory, huge victory on mainstream media? We've talked about Mika and Joe now burying the hatchet, apparently calling Trump. But what about those left-wing conspiracy theories and media biases? That doesn't get as much play. So welcome in to our author, David Harsanyi, Rise of Blue Anon. Congratulations.
It's a great name, by the way.
Yeah, brilliant. Blue Anon.
Thanks.
Oh,
Thanks. I appreciate being here.
We appreciate you being here. Yes. So, when we think about this, it's important to look at both sides, the right side, the left side, conspiracy theories, and there are a whole bunch of them. You go through these. Take us through what you think, first of all, the biggest conspiracy theory out there that Blue Anon is believing in.
Well, like you mentioned before, I think the consensus has always been that the right wing is more susceptible to conspiracy theories than the left wing, misinformation, disinformation. And I'm not excusing anyone on the right. I think, no one is immune from being conspiratorial occasionally. But I think the key difference is that the left's conspiracy theories are usually laundered through the media, polished up. Experts are called in who are just partisans who give it credibility. And then, it's disseminated through agencies and all that. So it's a much more difficult, it's much more plausible usually, and it's much more difficult to debunk. So the biggest one, obviously, was the Russia conspiracy theory. It started in politics. It was laundered through the media. Experts were brought in, then congressional investigations and so on. It enveloped the whole almost the whole first presidency of Donald Trump, and it's probably the most successful conspiracy theory in history, of political history, certainly in the United States. So that is like the most, a dramatic example of a conspiracy theory. But it's also about paranoia in politics. I'll give you a very quick example. The idea that people are out there suppressing the vote of Black Americans. That is a pernicious, paranoia that makes people think they don't have agency, that they can't vote. And it's simply not true. It's easier to vote today than it's ever been anywhere in history. So,
yeah, we saw that in Georgia, and they thankfully, they had huge turnout after that whole conversation. So I'm grateful for that. It's one of the reasons that I report probably too much on the breaking news here in PA, David, of the recount, because lawyers on both sides are there. There's full transparency. Yes, they're doing the court battles, but I think it's important on both sides to let people know that there are lawyers, there are witnesses, all the proper procedures are being followed. And I think that's reassuring to people, even though maybe it's a pain to hear about a fight and a recount, but to say, no, there's nothing under the shadow or the cloak of privacy here. This is all happening in real time. And I think that's important. And that really brings us to, you're talking about the media biases and how much, I guess my question to you is, are people on the right more skeptical of the media because they feel that they're looking at all the media differences? Have people on the right become more skeptical, and therefore is that one of the reasons maybe people on the left, they're more trusting of the so-called mainstream media?
Well, frankly, I think people just trust those people who tell them what they want to hear all the time, But I lay out this history. I mean, it didn't just happen overnight, where journalism used to be, it was always biased to the left. You could read a newspaper, you could read between the lines, but very rarely, or if ever, did they just make up something like the Russia collusion thing, or very, very rarely would they, or never would they, for instance, hide the decline of a president like they did with Joe Biden. And then when it, gaslight you about it, and then when it turned around, just turn around themselves and just push the guy out and have someone else, and have their anointed candidate, and never explained. There's no reckoning for it. No one ever got fired for it. No one ever explained how it happened. Now, either if they didn't know what was happening with Joe Biden, they're terrible journalists, or they were covering it up. Those are the two choices, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that journalists have become very different. They become activists, not just biased. There is a difference. Everyone has biases when we speak, and when either because of our faith or where we're from or our politics or whatever. It's very, no one wants you to have no bias. We just want you to be truthful. Yeah.
And David, that brings us, one of the quotes that you have is talking about the fact that you found that 69% of Americans, are Holocaust, or excuse me, the number of Americans are Holocaust deniers, or that a number of twice as many Democrats as Republicans believe the Holocaust is a myth. To me, that's a disturbing one. I don't know how anybody in America today thinks that the Holocaust is a myth. That one blew me away.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously there's anti-Semitism on both sides, in the fringes, but I think it's been far more mainstream and normalized on the left. You have members in Congress right now who are always openly talking about, just blood libel against Jewish people and the power of Jews in society and all that kind of stuff. I don't know that everyone who says they don't believe in the Holocaust really doesn't. I think some people just say it to elicit some kind of, response, or they just don't like Jewish people, so they want to say it. And some of them actually probably do believe it. Growing up and even now, a lot of Jewish organizations talk about how we need to educate people more and this and that. The truth is, polls show or studies show that the more you talk about it, the less people actually want to believe it. So that's a tough one.
I know Dan Borowski, our executive producer, wants to ask a question.
Yeah, I got a couple questions for you, Dave. Because first off, I got a couple people in my family, my close life. They're not blue anon. They're not conspiracy theorists, but they've really kind of bought into the propaganda that you hear from the left, and they hate Donald Trump and his supporters. So I got to ask you, David, as an expert who studied this kind of, rising conspiracy theory and this whole brainwashing that the propaganda has caused, how do you talk to people who have really been brainwashed into hating half the country?
I don't know if I'm an expert on that part of it, the psychological part of it, but I would say, the way to do it, I think, is just to calmly offer them facts, I'm not saying it's going to work every time. A lot of people, again, they want to believe certain things. There's nothing you can do about it. But it is true, and I note this in my book, that a lot of the left is far more, I think they're more invested in politics. And again, maybe because, I'm not saying this about your family, but maybe because they are, they don't have faith or whatever. They're too invested in politics. So when you're that invested in it, you see these videos of people breaking down because Donald Trump won the election. Mm-hmm. I think what happens is that it's too big a part of your life. So it's very difficult for you to just accept that someone you love or someone you know or your friend, disagrees with you about something like this. Mm-hmm. It's almost like disagreeing about God's existence or something, But so I think they're just too invested. Yeah.
I'm going to say this, though. It wasn't so long ago, and because I worked in television news before here, and so we would do reports on some of this as far as Holocaust education. In New Jersey, neighboring us, they've done Holocaust education as part of their curriculum for a very long time, not so much in Pennsylvania. And so going to campuses, even college campuses, even here in Philadelphia, asking people basic questions about the Holocaust or World War II or that sort of thing. People here in Pennsylvania did not have the answer. People in New Jersey did. So I think I wonder if part of this, and now they've actually, I think it was 2018-ish, they put this through, and now you have to have some level of education and curriculum. But I do think education matters on this issue. I mean, is is that one of the keys that these different alternative medias that have erupted, just like you're saying, they give people what they want and not necessarily the truth, to the point that either it suppresses the education they've had or plays upon the fact they're not educated on these issues?
That's an interesting question. First of all, I do think there's been, trust has been broken with major institutions. So when you don't trust the media, let's say, or most mass media, you have to turn to other places, to alternative places. And some of those alternative streams of information are nuts, right? But you may believe some of it or not, whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know that when you speak about education, I agree. I don't think it's the one topic saying, oh, we're going to teach you about the Holocaust. I think it's more holistic. You have to teach people, civics education, for instance, and you have to teach. So when you don't know about things, you come up with your own theories. Yep. And then because we have the internet now, a lot of people get together who have the same theories, and they just reinforce those ideas amongst themselves. And then it becomes very hard to break. So, yeah, I think it's all of those things.
Because you talk about history. In other words, if somebody doesn't know history, like my husband and I, we talk to our kids. We live in Philadelphia, so it's easy because the history lives around us with obviously historic sites. But if people don't know history, and I think that's something that you're looking into, David, is that then it's easier, I guess, for them to just believe in all of these conspiracies dating back.
Well, in a lot of schools, they'll teach them the 1619 Project or some kind of identitarian, terrible view of American society. Now, I'm not saying we should mythologize our founding and pretend everyone was perfect and everything was perfect, but I think a lot of young people have a negative view of the founding of America. They don't view the Constitution as something incredible and a great way to govern and govern stably and freely. They view it as an impediment. You can read the New York Times at least once a week. There's a piece in there about how the Constitution or free speech is getting in the way of doing, of making a better society. So I think that's broken. We used to disagree, but about issues, but in general, we had an agreement about our freedoms and the Constitution and so on. I'm not sure that we even have that agreement between left and right anymore.
And so, Dan, you had another question?
And final question from me, David, because I highly respect your opinion. I've been following your work for a long time. David Harsanyi, The Rise of Blue Anon, how the Democrats became a party of conspiracy theorists. And I have a lot of libertarian bones in my body. And there's a lot of this conversation about banning TikTok, and I'm actually kind of in favor of it because I see a foreign entity trying to ideologically subvert, an entire culture here, a Western culture society. But you have Facebook, Instagram that's following suit of TikTok's, logarithms and such. So I'm just curious, David, where do you stand on the whole banning TikTok or controlling social media? And do you think social media has as big of a play as traditional media in what we're seeing here with the rise of Blue Anon?
The second part of your question, yeah, I think it has a big influence. Again, I think social media is half nefarious and half great. Mm-hmm. It reinforces all the bad things, but it also helps us push back. So when I was a kid, there were 3 networks and gatekeepers, and no one could really push back against narratives or fact check. It was very difficult. You couldn't do it. Normal person couldn't do it. Now you can. So I like that. As far as TikTok, I would be very careful about banning companies or banning foreign companies, things like that. But I do think TikTok is a special case. I don't have a firm opinion about it yet, but I'm open to the idea that we shouldn't really let an adversary, a communist adversary who wants us to weaken us, control such a major information company in our here. But I'm not 100%. I'd have to hear, what are we going to do? Are we going to, are we setting a precedent where we can just go and take any company away from anyone and hand it to someone else? I think that's a precedent we should really be careful with, I guess.
David, do you offer a glimpse? I mean, you do all this research, you look at all of this, but is there hope on the horizon for busting through some of the disinformation and the misinformation that attracts certain fringes of both sides of the partisan spectrum?
Well, it's always going to be with us to some extent, obviously. But I think this election proved that the media no longer really controls the I hate to use the word narrative, but the narrative of the election. So Hitler's coming, Republicans are Nazis, Handmaid's Tale, all this stuff. people really didn't listen. Most normie people didn't listen to it. And you can see everyone moving away from it, like Joe Scarborough, wherever. So maybe there's hope that the fever has broken and there's going to be a better journalism. Now, again, I've never been I think going aggressively after Donald Trump is fine if it's fact-based. Problem is that you didn't go aggressively after Democrats.
Have to be equal.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. So then you have a society with a good good journalistic class that keeps people honest. But right now it's only basically going after Republicans. That's a problem.
Listen, David Harsanyi, The Rise of Blue Anon. Some have called yours one of the most important political books of the decade. So great reviews. So congratulations. And we just, I think you're an important voice. Thank you, David.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh,
Thanks for the kind words.
Thank you. Congratulations. No, it's a great book. I love the topic. It's something we debate in my house. I think the honest to God's truth as somebody who's raising, children is talk, discuss, have the discussion with your kids, with your family, with your loved ones. And as I always say, we're all getting played. I mean, anybody who watched MSNBC and believed that Mika and Joe thought that Trump was a danger to democracy, well, then how is it that they're calling him up, sucking up to him, and want to go back to Mar-a-Lago? Anybody who believed that Biden thought that you as MAGA supporters, or that Trump was a danger to democracy, look at the images of them chumming it up, smiling, laughing, shaking hands. Welcome back. So we're all getting played. That's at the end of the day. I find a narrative by somebody like David important because it's just a reminder we should always be cynical, and our media should be equal in reporting on that cynicism. That's my take. 855-839-1210. One thing I think we can all agree on is my friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles. They feature the very latest luxury vehicles from today's top brands. I'm talking about some of the most beautiful vehicles on our roadways. Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, and more. And these models have sleek new designs as well as innovative features powered by the very latest in technology. And they have thousands of new as well as certified pre-owned vehicles available right now across their Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey dealerships. Piazza Premium Automobiles stands out. Visit them. Piazza, PiazzaPremiumAutos.com. Make sure you tell them Dawn sent you.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years.
He was in big trouble.
We're going to take your house, garnish your pay.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm.
I don't owe the IRS anymore. It was because of Optima Tax.
Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Actual client compensated for sharing their experience. Visit OptimaTaxRelief.com for details.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. What comes to mind when you hear the word gratitude? Maybe it's a daily practice, or maybe it feels hard to be grateful right now. Don't forget to give yourself some thanks by investing in your well-being. BetterHelp is the largest online therapy provider in the world, connecting you to qualified professionals via phone, video, or message chat. Let the gratitude flow. Visit BetterHelp.com/healthieryou today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/healthieryou.
I'm Tiffany, founder of Harlem Pilates. When I couldn't find Pilates in my neighborhood, I started a studio from my studio apartment. Chase Inc. helped me grow from 1 Pilates studio to 3. Because when you start small, you're going to need some big help.
With the Chase Inc. Business Cash Card, you can earn up to 5% cash back on business essentials, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for Business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC, subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Prescription products require completion of an online consultation with an independent healthcare provider and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Additional restrictions apply. See website for more details and safety information.
Did you know millions of people are getting prescription medications for weight loss, sexual health, better sleep, and more, all online? RexMD.com has made getting these medications fast and easy, with free delivery of the most popular medications right to your door. Just fill out a brief survey, and if appropriate, we'll prescribe and ship clinically proven options to help with issues like weight loss.
I've lost 45 pounds so far. It's nice to get back into clothes that I haven't been able to wear for a long time.
We can also help with insomnia,
I slept through the whole night. It made me feel very well rested and ready to go for the day.
And RexMD can improve your sexual health.
I felt like a young man again. My wife is happier. I am definitely much happier.
At RexMD.com, we've made the process fast, easy, and affordable. Visit RexMD.com right now to get started. That's RexMD.com.
Wawa's hot turkey is back, and it's bringing the comforting flavors of the season with it. Sink into savory stuffing, cozy up with sweet cranberry sauce, and relax into some warm, buttery mashed potatoes. Grab your pillows and blankets because hot turkey is back. Plus, get your cozy cravings satisfied from the comfort of your bed with $0 delivery when you order on the Wawa app. Try the Wawa Gobbler today in a hoagie or bowl for a limited time. Gotta have a Wawa.
Do you have shoeboxes full of old videotapes and photos with memories you'd love to share with the family this Christmas? Right now, get exclusive early access to Legacy Box's biggest deal of the year. Digitize your memories for just $9 per tape. That's right, only $9 to preserve and share your precious moments. VHS, VHS-C, Hi-8, film reels, and more, saving you over $15 per item. Not to mention, when you digitize your memories now, Legacy Box sends all your memories back on the cloud, so they're easy to access by Christmas, and you can relive them with your family just in time for the holidays. You've heard about Legacy Box all year, but now is the best time to digitize your memories. Hurry, this $9 deal won't last long. Head to legacybox.com/value for early access to our best deal of the year. Don't wait. Secure your digitized memories by Christmas at legacybox.com/value.
The Don Stensland Show. Don Stensland live and local on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Lovely little piano. No, Dan doesn't play the piano. That's not what this is.
Oh, I just got a piano last week.
You did?
Yeah.
So you're going to be playing the piano.
Oh, yeah, I'm back at it. Yeah. The dog's afraid of a guitar, so I had to find something to keep my musical vibes going, you know.
Like, he's a piano doggy.
Can't play this well, though. Vince Guaraldi, beautiful music, but
lovely.
Little Christmas vibe coming in.
I love it. I actually, the thing I'll say about, just to wrap up, and thank you for setting up David, and it looks like a really great book, and I think he's getting a lot of play, both, you know, to his credit. I see him on Fox News. I see him on the Democrat shows, the Republican type biased medias. So I see him on both sides. I will say, as a parent, I do feel that it comes down to education. The kids are taught to be sheep nowadays in the mainstream schooling education. And that's why Trump also campaigning about reforming education and making it so kids are critical thinkers, right? That they're just critical thinkers. They look at issues. They know how to tell the difference between AI, and they know how to tell the difference between propaganda and what is real. And I think there's a huge difference in many of the private schools, not all, that teach kids to be critical thinkers, to be leaders, and to speak out. And I think in mainstream media, public education, K through 12, as well as colleges, more and more young people are told to shut up and listen and to follow. And we have a nation of followers. Not all the time, obviously, but I think that's a huge problem and an area that we need to look at, because we do not want America's children to be followers, to be sheep. We want a nation of critical thinkers who know how to argue back and to be critical thinkers. That's my thought on it. And so I would say for David, that would be his next book. Maybe he can look at contrast education. Is it cultural? Is it local? Is it the South versus the West versus the East Coast versus the Midwest? You know, I don't know what that looks like, but I will tell you that in this election, think about what we turned on its turned upside down was the so-called Ivy Leagues. The more elite some of these education, these educators were and professors, they were the ones who were, for example, being anti-Israel, or that's what they were accused of, right? So we've turned all of that upside down. So we'll have to look at it more. But looking at education is critical, because it begins with our children. 855-839-1210, the number to call. We have a great guest that Dan has found. You want to hear this because it involves supporting our veterans, thanking our military, and wonderful, I'll say a wonderful certain animal that's very loyal, right? So,
you know?
No, not her. Dawn Show continues right after this.
The exclusive crash-proof retirement system is tried and true, outperforming the market through the worst of economic times, as it did for crash-proof consumer Larry Kipp. In 2007, Mr. Kipp's crash-proof system earned 15.8% interest, outperforming the S&P. When the crash of '08 struck and the market dropped over 37%, his crash-proof system lost nothing. Mr. Kipp did not have to recover from the crash. His system credited 10.8% interest permanently to his account, as others tried to recoup what they already had.
People talking about all the money that they lost, and I could sit there and say, well, I didn't lose any. I knew that I couldn't lose principal, and so when the crash came, I knew my money was safe. I would say that there is a crash-proof retirement. I have proof of it.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at Springfield Country Club, November 20th, 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Do you have a property that you no longer want? Maybe you inherited the property. Maybe you're underwater in the property. Or maybe you're just a tired landlord, tired of dealing with tenants. Listen, I can buy those properties, and I'll buy those properties fast. I can close in 2 weeks. I buy properties cash. My name is Larry Steinhaus. Give me a call at 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I will personally answer the call. You can also visit easyOutRealEstate.com. Hey, this is Larry Steinhaus from Investor Schooling. Did you know I have a radio show every Saturday from 1 to 3? It's called The Larry Steinhaus Show, and it's sponsored by Investor Schooling. On this show, you will learn things about finances and things about money that you never knew before. But even more of a reason to listen to this show is how much fun we have. If you haven't heard the banter between me, Omri, and Dr. Deb, you haven't heard the greatest show on earth. Listen to this show this Saturday at 1 o'clock right here on WPHT, and I promise you will learn something.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Who let the dogs out?
Well, we know who's training the dogs for a very good purpose, and this is to help our disabled veterans. Alpha Bravo Canine's mission, really, they want to raise, train, and donate these trained service dogs to our U.S. military veterans who are suffering from things like PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder, or maybe a brain injury that's traumatic or other combat-related disabilities. I want to welcome in Jennifer Seneschal, who is the founder and director of training of Alpha Bravo Canine. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us this morning. How are you?
Thank you, Dawn. I appreciate you having us on, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Tell me, first of all, so I know you're located in Bucks County, and you do the training there. How did you start? Because you're a founder, obviously, co-founder. So how and why did you start Alpha Bravo Canine?
Sure. I started Alpha Bravo Canine, honestly, as a way to give back to our veterans. One of my main focuses was veteran suicide, and to bring awareness to veteran suicide, but also give our veterans an outlet for something for them to almost like have a new mission in their life. And that new mission is actually taking their own health and their own life back.
You know, Jennifer, we talk about the longest war, Afghanistan, and looking at how many of our veterans suffering from some of the things that I talked about, the PTSD and other combat-related disabilities. But when I think of, and I was looking up some stats as far as Afghanistan veterans as well as those who served in Iraq, is that the bulk of those who you're serving currently?
It is the bulk of who we're serving. We also have served our Vietnam veterans as well, too.
And so,
yeah, but the bulk is definitely are those war eras, absolutely.
And so, you know, I know that you're Alpha Bravo Canine. You're an official 501c3 organization. That takes a lot. If people don't know what it takes, first of all, to set up a 501c3 organization, which means it's a nonprofit, and there are all kinds of, you know, watchdogs within the government and the state and so on to guarantee that essentially that the money, let's say people that donate to Alpha Bravo Canine, that it goes where it's supposed to go. But you actually donate these service dogs to our U.S. veterans, our military veterans. I know that this is costly. I mean, to do the training. So first of all, how much of, you know, you're donating the service dogs? How do you fundraise? How can people get involved so that they can support what you're doing?
Yeah, we fundraise year-round, to be honest with you. It costs approximately $25,000 per dog. So it's a constant fundraising that we do. We have yearly events. We work with White Dog Cafe, who does a yearly dining out night where they donate a portion of the proceeds back to us. We have a yearly dog walk out in Bucks County, which is awesome, called Strolling for Service Dogs. And then we have little events throughout the year to help take care of the cost associated with this.
And so for you, I know that, and I want to get to the point of talking about something newer, and that is that if somebody already has a dog, that in other words, if somebody has a dog, the dog has to qualify, but that you could help train their dog if they're, let's say, a military veteran with a dog. Is that how it works, that you could help them actually train the dog?
If the dog qualifies, yes, we can. We are an owner trained. We do owner train as well too. A little bit more, just set up a little bit differently, but it's something that we definitely could help out with as well.
And we want to get to the issue of, as I said, you're based in Bucks County, but there's an issue here where you're now being essentially booted from that space, or you need a new space. Talk to me about what's going on as far as Alpha Bravo Canine's home so that you can carry out your mission.
Sure. We've been in our current space for about 7 years now. Unfortunately, with a 650% monthly increase in rent, with 3% after that, every year after that, we can't afford to stay where we're at. So we're looking for a space. We're currently based out of Newtown, PA. And we're looking for a wide open space where we can do our training, have our veterans come in. This is also a space where we have volunteer puppy raisers that come in on a weekly basis to do training with us. And it's a place for volunteers to come in as well to also want to give back to our veterans. So we are in need of a training space right now.
And so let me ask you this, because I know a ton of people who have, run kennels and that sort of thing. Does it matter if it's Bucks County, Montgomery County, Jersey, right over the, because you're in Bucks now, or do you need to stay in Bucks County?
Right now, with where our puppy raisers are located, and all of our puppy raisers are volunteer, we're trying to stay within the area that our current volunteers are, because we have volunteers that come out on a weekly basis and they do a variety of different events with us and things like that. So we're also just trying to make it as easy as possible for everybody to be able to get to us.
So how many dogs?
Our first preference is Bucks County.
Okay. How many dogs are you training right now, Jennifer?
So we just donated a dog about 2 weeks ago. We currently have 4 dogs in training now. We have 2 younger puppies, and then we have 2 dogs that will be ready to be donated within the next 6 months. So we try and have about 6 dogs at a time with the cost associated with everything, and we do have to fundraise for it. So I like to stay within our limits. We usually have about 6 dogs in training at a time.
So it's alphabravocanine.org, and on your site, which I'm a doggy lover, Dan is too. I'm seeing mostly, it looks like maybe Labrador Retrievers. What kinds of dogs are you? If somebody already has a dog or a puppy, is it a lab? What kind of dogs?
We use labs. The dogs that we donated are always Labrador Retrievers. They love to work. They'll work for anything. They're a great dog to just integrate into anything. They're just awesome dogs. But yes, we will work with other dogs as well too if it's an owner train. But the dogs that we donate out are labs.
I just got a question because we got a couple via text, social media. 650% monthly rent increase. That's a lot. Like, say you're paying $1,000, you're now being charged $6,500 a month. Say it's $2,000, you're talking about $13,000. That's a huge increase. So I'm just curious, what's the justification that you guys have been given for that kind of increase? What's going on there?
There's no justification for it, honestly. It's just it was presented as this is the way that it is. And I've been in a relationship with this company for a really long time, so it's not like anything's new. Nothing has changed on either end other than they just want to charge more money. And
is this going to everyone in the building or at their properties, or is this like a direct shot towards your charity? Or I don't know if you want to.
It's a direct. I think it's just directly. We're the only leases. We're the only lease in the building. So yeah. Unfortunately, it was. Yeah. It's almost like we're trying to be pushed out. That's the way that I feel.
Well, and it could be with real estate the way it is. Quite frankly, they may want to sell the property, and they already have somebody who has a purpose for it. That's what I'm suspecting.
Yeah, they're not selling it.
They're not. So they have somebody.
No, they're not selling it.
So we'll
I think they want to expand their services with what they do. But yeah, they're not trying to sell it.
Oh. So if we have listeners in Bucks County that have property, if they can help out with this, how would they get involved, or how can they reach out to you to help out there? If they want to rent out to you, maybe they can offer a decent price. Where should they go?
Absolutely.
And also to give us the space, like how much space are we talking about, and what are the needs here?
Sure. If somebody wants to reach out to us, they can do that directly on our website under alphabravocanine.org, and that is all spelled out. You can go to our contact button. My email, servicedogs@alphabravocanine.org, but everything's right on our website. Our current space is right around 2,000 square feet. That includes training space as well as we need a little bit of storage. Realistically, if we had about 2,500 square feet or a little bit above, that would be amazing. Because we also have merchandise and things that we try and sell, which also goes towards the supplies that we need for our dogs as well, too. So, yeah, anything in that area right around that square footage would be amazing.
Well, listen.
And it has to be an open space because we do need that open space for the training.
So you need an open space, but obviously you need like an office space or someplace that's where you can store things and have some office.
And I'm assuming some
offices?
outdoor space, fenced-in space as well.
I mean, that would be amazing. Outdoor space would be great, for sure.
So we have some listeners with like specific places. I have a friend in Montgomery County. I think that doesn't work because of the location, but we'll work on it. We have a great listenership and viewership. So Jennifer Seneschal, thank you so much for joining us. We want to follow up with you. I mean, you're doing great things with this incredible nonprofit, and at the end of the day, helping our veterans deal with the price that they've paid for our freedoms. It's the least we can do. Jennifer, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Oh, God bless. We'll continue this follow-up, but it's alphabravocanine.org. You can go to the site. You can see some of the doggies, and they're like freaking adorable. Now, I do see, I don't know if these are some of the dogs that maybe are other people's dogs that they've trained. I see a beagle. I see maybe a poodle Labrador mix, but most of the dogs are Labradors because Labradors are sweetie pies.
What was Buddy?
He was a mix lab. He was like a yellow lab combo with, who knows? He was a
I see
true
why
mutt.
your heart's being wrenched a little bit.
I know. But they look, some of them, the one in the picture looks like, oh, buddy boy. But no, it's hard nowadays. I will say this with, what we have going on with real estate right now. There's such a crunch. And so it's affecting this nonprofit, but we see this all over the place with, in general, because of the higher interest rates and all of that, and depending on a space and what somebody needs, I'm not surprised this kind of thing is happening, which really stinks. But 855-839-1210, if you want to call us, if you have something in mind to maybe, can you imagine if you all came up with something for Alpha Bravo Canine? Would that be wonderful or what? So 855-839-1210. Quick break. Be right back.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
I voted for Trump. My wife sent me divorce papers. What do I do?
Call a lawyer, sir.
I didn't even know it was possible to be served divorce papers this quickly. I'm shocked. I married somebody willing to throw away our entire life over politics. Last week we were happy. Today we're getting divorced. Says nothing will change her mind.
You guys can't agree with your spouse on every political issue.
Oh, hell no.
You can only be with somebody if they align with you politically.
That's why I mentioned the Joy Reid clip. Like, you're really not going to go to somebody's house on Thanksgiving or invite him over because Trump won?
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
Hi, everyone. This is Dom Giordano here with my friend and dentist, Dr. Robert Bentz of the Bentz Dental Group. Dr. Bentz, we've talked about your cutting-edge, state-of-the-art care. Why is that so vital?
It sure helps me diagnose and elevate the level of care I can offer if I'm using the latest technology. I use it on a normal, everyday basis, and I can see things that is just missed. It's not misdiagnosed, but you can't see something that your equipment won't allow you to. So I feel that if I can't utilize what's out there, and it takes a lot to be trained on it, feel comfortable, that can work for everyone. Not just these advanced cases, but it gives you a very consistent, efficient, and predictable result.
Dr. Bentz and the team at Bentz Dental Group provide solutions for the most complex dental cases. Call Dr. Bentz today at 610-272-6949 or visit BentzDentalGroup.com. Bentz Dental Group, say it with a smile.
Cancer, a scary word, but not so scary if you have the right team. Hi, this is John DeMasi, host of Health Watch, Sundays at 8 and again at 4 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. And that team is Dr. Molly Fantasia and the medical staff at Innovative Medical Associates. Yes, cancer is a scary word and a difficult condition if you've been diagnosed. Over the years, the staff at Innovative Medical Associates has helped hundreds of patients with their unique medical hydration protocols. Cancer support is a large part of the practice at Innovative Medical Associates.
We believe in medical hydration. We've improved it so much that we are able to help people
across the board with challenges before they become chronic.
Talk about improving your quality of life. Most likely, that'll happen when you visit Innovative Medical Associates. Check them out on the web at innovativemedicalassociates.com or call 856-489-0505 to schedule your initial complimentary consultation.
There's a reason that potato chips don't come in a clear bag.
There's only 8 chips in this bag.
That's why. It's only about 2/3 full. The rest is air. It's a lot like opening up your 401k at retirement. You get about 2/3 of it, and the rest goes to Uncle Sam. Jim Cipriotti at the Retire Ready Financial Group can help. His tax mapping process can help forecast what your tax bill will be in the future, and that way you can build a strategy now to potentially decrease your tax bill in retirement. In other words, more for you and less for Uncle Sam. Call today for your complimentary retirement tax mapping report, 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415, or find them online at retirereadyfg.com. And get Uncle Sam's greedy hands out of your retirement.
Hey, you've had enough.
With a complimentary tax mapping report from Jim Cipriotti. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
Free speech lives here on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
News today with looking at the trial that's underway in Georgia. This is Laken Riley, who is a murder victim, and the accused on trial right now is a Venezuelan-born man who snuck into this country via El Paso, snuck in 2022, and was in the hands of, arrested by law enforcement on at least 2 incidents that we know of as reported. But because one was New York City, for example, sanctuary status, even though the guy had been charged with a crime, they, let him back out, never called ICE, etc. So that murder trial is underway. We've been covering that for you. And the other big stories locally, of course, the triple threat of a huge strike involving SEPTA operators as well as the largest municipal union. These individuals, these are tens of thousands of people working without a contract. Could they strike? Will they strike? So I don't have comment from the mayor. We're watching that situation very carefully and how that would affect SEPTA, riders, as well as thousands of Philadelphia school children, mainly middle schoolers and high schoolers who don't have the yellow school bus. They take SEPTA. How would they get to school? So that would be a can of worms. We're watching that one very carefully. And then the big recount. As we know, Linda Kearns, among others, will be 1 o'clock. She'll be in court fighting to, quote, protect the vote. We've updated you on that multiple times as that recount. The recount is underway with a deadline of November 26th at noon for the recount to be done. This is the race between Senator-elect Republican Dave McCormick and his opponent. This race has been called even by the AP and others, but his opponent, who refuses to concede, one incumbent Democrat, and that is Bob Casey Jr. So that goes on. We've been talking about that a lot this morning. Your thoughts, 855-839-1210. We got Frank in South Philadelphia. Hey, Frank.
Good morning, Dawn. How are we doing today?
Doing great.
Thank you for taking my call. Dawn, I'd like to speak on this trial that's going on. Is the cartel that's sending these criminals, killers, rapists, whatever, to plant a seed in our prison systems. And what's happening is if the judge, if this crumb that gets convicted and gets a life sentence, that proves my point, because we'll have a lifetime seed of a criminal enterprise that the cartels are sending into the United States, into the prison system. So this way they could do whatever they want. They have the money, they have the drugs, they have the power, and they most likely have some people in Washington, D.C. Now, that's a strong statement that I'm making, but let me put it through you this way. If this guy, this crumb, does not get death penalty if he's convicted, that means the seed is still in the prison system or wherever he gets convicted. To prove in point, the guy that blew up a building in Colorado, I think it was, he got a life sentence. We have to feed him. Our taxpayers turn around and fork the bill of it. And now it's even worse because our criminals that are in the United States domestically are not as ruthless as these criminals coming in from the cartel, and they have a lot of support from China and also South America that has the cartels here. And right now, China has 3/4 of South America that is controlled. They claim it's for mining. They claim it's for business-wise. But I think it's otherwise. Money talks and BS walks.
Yeah, amen. Frank, I love you. Thank you so much. I will say for Georgia, yes, they have the death penalty. It's a death penalty state, although it looks like in this case they do lethal injection. That's their pathway of execution. Obviously, across the country, there's a decline in states carrying out capital punishment, but they do allow the death penalty and say it's legal in Georgia. So I think at the end of the day, to be very honest with you, this was the ultimate goal here was we had population decline. Look at Philadelphia, look at New York, look at across the country, the centers where you have a big population that's a blue population because of a couple things. Number one, we have less babies being born. And when I've reported on this is the first, it's historic in our nation how people are not having babies. That's number one. But number two, we had people because of the pandemic also not having babies perhaps, but they were leaving. They were leaving places like Philadelphia and going south, going there for the work, for the weather, for cheaper living, if you will. And so how would they then refill the voter rolls? And I believe I know that that's cynical, but I think it's as simple as that they thought, open up the border, let them in, because we know that they could stop it because Biden did stop it by executive order this past summer, right? It was in June. It was right before that late June debate between Biden and Trump. And so what they did was he signed the executive order and boom, they limited it. They still allow a bunch of people in, and it's still not as great a process as it should be, because I think it was very effective. People stopped coming en masse when they knew that they would have to be processed on the Mexico side. But our country had to work well with Mexico to get them to agree to that. And what it did was people knew that when they're not even allowed to come into this country, then they have to be processed over there. And that way, truly, the true asylum seekers will have a pathway, but everybody knew that. So the ones that are not really going to qualify for asylum, guess what? They stopped coming, and that was a great way to deal with it. But Biden did significantly stop that mass, infusion of people, if you will. But up until they've been in office, 3.5 years. Up until June, you guys can look it up. They just opened those borders and people were allowed to come in until his executive order.
It's sad. One more thing I'd like to all your listeners, the blue states that are out there, and I hope your station goes out to them. The blue states or any 50 states that we have, think of it this way, and I hope to God that it never happens to anyone's grandchild or wife or sister or whatever that it happened to this one girl there in Georgia. If it can happen, it can happen to any one of us, whether if you're a blue state, red state, whatever it may be. But why allow these ruthless crumbs to allow them to come in here, just walk in our country? And guess what? Those ruthless cartels or make our criminals over here like altar boys.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that.
God bless you, Frank.
Like altar boys would be.
Hey, Frank, I want to get to Dave in New Jersey because he wanted to talk about our interview with Jennifer, as she's somebody who trains in these dogs to help our military veterans who are suffering after serving with things like PTSD. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dawn, how are you?
Good.
Well, I had an great uncle, that was shell-shocked and spent his life in the Veterans Administration from World War I. So, and we used to have to go visit him because my father used to take his aunt to go visit him like once or twice a month. And what these poor guys gave for our country this woman is like an angel.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And my father had PST from, Korea. He was in Korea. So, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know what it's like, but go ahead.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for calling. And you're right. People like Jennifer are angels on this earth, and we want to help her. I know there was a situation where the previous venue where they were able to, call home, that situation, the lease is essentially running out. And so they need to find a new space. That's the objective here. And so if you want to go to alphabravocanine.org, you can donate or you can volunteer. You can support alphabravocanine.org. Just a great 501c3 nonprofit. And, when we think about tracking, we think about safety, we think about cybersecurity. For me, I want to tell you I've been identity thefted, if that's a thing, identity thefted, or I've been a victim or survivor of identity theft twice in my life. It turns your life upside down. It affects your banking. It affects everything. It can affect your job, your reputation. It's horrible. And you never want to deal with that hassle. So first and foremost, when I heard about DuckDuckGo, which is if you don't have DuckDuckGo, and you should as your browser, it should be the little cutie pie little duck that's the app on your phone, and it's free and it's easy. It's so simple to download. As I say, if I can use it, you can use it. So first and foremost, get DuckDuckGo. Start with that. They do not track you at all. Every time you search on DuckDuckGo, it's as if you've never been there before. Now, they still make money off of ads, but they just don't track you, okay? They don't do all the creepy stuff. But when I heard about Privacy Pro within the past month or so and started using it, and this is a subscription, it's really a 3-in-1. It's a threefer, if you will. So DuckDuckGo Privacy Pro, and I looked it up, of course, investigated it. It's rated as a superior personal information removal product because, and that's just it, the work that they do as far as if you look up your name. So look up your name and see how many of these really creepy sites actually track you, take your information, and then they're using it and they're selling it. It's weird and it creeps me out for sure. But as far as identity theft, I'll take you through there, whether through a data broker, maybe a data breach, or maybe somebody being very deliberate and stealing from you. Your personal information can wind up in the hands of an identity thief as well. And so maybe it's something that seems small, maybe make a purchase on your credit card. Somebody contacts you. This happened to a friend of mine through Facebook. You open an account, and then once that thief gets the traction, everything snowballs and it wreaks havoc in your life. Trust me when I tell you. So for Privacy Pro, the subscription service, it is secure. They have their own VPN. In my humble opinion, you need to do this. It's a 3-in-1 privacy subscription service. And boy, it's a bargain, and you can check that out as well. But helps protect your personal information from being exploited by those hackers or scammers. I love that. It's from DuckDuckGo, so I already know that product, and I trust it. They have the VPN, which secures your Wi-Fi connection anytime, anywhere. And then, yes, the identity theft restoration. So if, God forbid, your identity gets stolen, DuckDuckGo Privacy Pro is going to help you restore it. And then that privacy information removal. And I want to point out, when I'm on my desktop devices, whether it's Mac or Windows, it works through that for that personal information removal. What that means is those sites that have been selling your info about you, Privacy Pro is going to actually help you, assist you on these sites so that you can remove your personal info from those creepy sites. So for that 3-in-1 service, just $9.99 a month. $9.99 a month. I mean, it's an amazing 3-for deal, as I say. As my listener, go to duckduckgo.com 1210, duckduckgo.com/1210, and then you get a 7-day free trial on us. duckduckgo.com/1210. Try it out. duckduckgo.com/1210 for that free trial on us.
A very mild air mass is in place as we start off the work week. Plenty of sunshine today with a high 68. Tonight, chilly, partly cloudy, low 44 for the city. Colder out in the suburbs. Cooler on Tuesday, but still above average. Mixture of sun and clouds with a high 62.
You may have heard, Wawa has pizza. And right now, Wawa has pizza at a really great price. Wawa has personal pizza for a night of gaming.
And it's only $6.
Wawa has pizza for when we don't want to cook.
And a 14-inch is $8.
Wawa has pizza for after practice.
A 16-inch to feed the team, $10. Right now, get a personal 14 or 16-inch Wawa pizza for just $6, $8, or $10. Wawa has pizza for all at a really great price.
This is Jordan Lundy.
And this is Len Lundy. Lundy Law has won billions for our clients.
But more importantly, we've won the trust and confidence of thousands of people injured in motor vehicle crashes, slip and fall accidents, and work-related injuries.
My son and I hope we never meet you because of an accident. But if we do, we're here for you.
Remember our name, Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Call 1-800-LUNDY-LAW or visit lundylaw.com for a free consultation. As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
Choosing the right candidates for any office can be difficult.
My office has lots of drama.
My office has its ups and downs.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, one thing's for certain. If you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the most qualified candidates for your roles fast, and you can invite your top choices to apply. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So, for any kind of office.
I'm really going places in my office.
My office has everything you could ever want.
Count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidates for it. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
So I don't know if you ever watch the show with Mr. and Mrs. Brzezinski. It's MSNBC. Morning Joe co-host. I think they should call it Morning Mika, because I think she wears the pants in that relationship.
I think it's about time.
If I may say. But this is, if you don't think, so here's a great example of understanding the mindset of some of these people, and these individuals live a very exclusive life, right? They're wealthy. They make millions and millions of dollars a year with their biggity big salary with MSNBC. They're highly paid and they're highly pampered, right? So from their very expensive Manhattan place, right? They have multiple homes, and the vehicle is in front of the house with your driver, and we're going to pick you up and we're going to drive you to the studio, and then you go into hair and makeup, and you have assistants and you have producers, and you are essentially, you are treated like a king or a queen, quite frankly. And so these individuals live in their bubble, and they're pundits, and they're highly, highly paid people. So here's what's going on. With MSNBC, they have come out now and done a complete turnaround on Donald J. Trump. After years of bashing him, and just to refresh your memory, remember that Mika and Joe used to be friends with Trump. Remember this? Back when I joined the Zioli show, oh my goodness, we would air the sound, and they loved Trump. Trump would call into their show because they did not think he had a chance of winning, but they were buddies for years. Because Joe, remember, had been a Republican congressman. Trump, I don't know, probably contributed to his campaign, but Mika and Joe would go hang out. They'd stay on Trump's dime and generosity, because I'm pretty sure they didn't pay, and that did come out, that they would stay at this exclusive, beautiful place. He would wine and dine them, as he does with different individuals in the media and whatever. And so they were buds until he won. And then they went all cray-cray on him. And it was harsh. They were tough on him. I mean, basically said he was evil and Hitler-esque and all of the above. Well, now, what a turnaround. I mean, this is probably the biggest turnaround that I've ever... This is historic, Dan.
You think they recognize the damage they've done to society? And that's why they're kind of having this moment of, come back to life? Or do you think this is solely business decision, ratings based? They know they're sinking so fast that they got to make a pivot quickly? Where do you stand?
I mean, I know we have the audio from Greg Stocker's cut sheet, so in a moment, I mean, you can hear that. We played a little bit of it this morning, but they're just basically they're coming out, I think, and saying that after all these years of all the basically war, they want to be nice. They want to make up, because making up is hard to do.
You want to hear that audio?
Sure.
Over the past week, Joe and I have heard from so many people, from political leaders to regular citizens, deeply dismayed by several of President-elect Trump's cabinet selections, and they are scared. Last Thursday, we expressed our own concerns on this broadcast and even said we would appreciate the opportunity to speak with the president-elect himself. On Friday, we were given the opportunity to do just that. Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart
I love the back and forth script they got going.
My father often spoke with world leaders with whom he and the United States profoundly disagreed. That's a task shared by reporters and commentators alike. We had not spoken to President Trump since March of 2020, other than a personal call Joe made to Trump on the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania.
This is important.
In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful, he was upbeat, he seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we? 5 years of political warfare has deeply divided Washington and the country. We have been as clear as we know how in expressing our deep concerns about President Trump's actions and words in the coarsening of public debate. But for nearly 80 million Americans, election denialism, public trials, and January 6th were not as important as the issues that moved them to send Donald Trump back to the White House.
I know we've all had it. I just wanted you to hear them out a little bit as they make their case. Okay, number one, I'm going to say Comcast is already, within the past even few days, there's more movement. Comcast wants to dump, big dump, MSNBC, Oprah's Oxygen Network, and so on, because they're money losers compared to the NBC brand. So they're getting dumped, number one. Number two, they were not talking about issues like her dad back in the day, used to do. That's not what this was. He was compared to a Nazi, a fascist, someone who was a danger to democracy, Russia, J6ers. They basically were pushing for Trump to be put behind bars. And so you might say, well, why would they be allowed to go to Mar-a-Lago in person? Why was that important? Were they applying for a job? I think this was the biggest case of, this is like Game of Thrones, like basically bending over on their knees, kissing the ring, and because they're just sucking up, because I think they realize how defeated they are, that they are irrelevant. And so for Trump, with people who say, well, he's so easily triggered and he's this, that, and the other, Trump knows the game. Trump knew the game. Trump knew we were all getting played, and that clowns like these people were playing so many millions of viewers who listened to them and believed in them. And that's the horrible piece of this. And it goes back to the interview with David that Dan had set up. And that is that everybody in America needs to understand that these multimillionaires, see, they're playing all of us. And I will say there are ones on the conservative side who do it too, that they're playing all of us for their own personal gain. That's what this is. And that's why it's a sin. So good for Trump that he shakes their hand. He allows them to kiss the ring and kiss whatever. But I will say this, we the people need to learn from them doing this. Because once again, you know what they're thinking of? Themselves. They're not doing this to apologize. They should have. Dan, did they apologize to anybody? Did they say, we're sorry?
No. And we had a guest, David Harsanyi, earlier, who really put a highlight onto what they've caused in society. They've caused a rift. They've caused division. They should be held. They should have to apologize, I feel.
They should have to say, we apologize. We went overboard. We went too far. And even to the point where people like this, and on MSNBC in particular, where I do believe that some of these people, I know that some people might laugh at it. Maybe you think it's funny. But some of these women who are online and they're breaking, that one lady I saw over the weekend, and she's like having a total breakdown of mental health. She's crying that she can't go on an app or date. Women saying they'll never have, hoo-ha or relations. I mean, I know people are laughing at it, but truthfully, these people were Mika and Joe's viewers. And they actually, I'm not saying that Mika and Joe caused like a mental health breakdown, but I'm simply saying, given everything that was going on post-pandemic, I feel like these women have literally, they need help. They actually need help. And so
I found the audio that you were just referencing.
Okay, go ahead.
This vote wasn't a vote for Americans. This vote was for men. And unless we want to become the Handmaid's Tale, then us women need to protest because this is some buttery bullshit.
I'm gonna be honest, I was very blindsided by the results this morning. I've decided that cigarettes don't count today, and I honestly might go get a tattoo. But I also have decided that for the next 4 years, I am going to abstain from schmex with men. And funny enough, I actually just broke up with my boyfriend a handful of days before the election, and it had nothing to do with the anticipation of Donald Trump winning this election. It had everything to do with problems within our relationship and massive differences between who we were as people, which was unfortunate and sad. I wish him well, though. But yeah, as a woman, my bodily autonomy matters, and this is my way to exercise sovereignty over that. Okay. So I highly encourage any other women that are single, and care about progressing women's rights and still fighting for our bodily.
She is, I mean, if you see her face visually, she is like sobbing. She is, I know you're laughing, but the truth is she's like, she needs help. I
know, it's sad.
And so all of us in society need to be more cynical. And I'm saying myself, like, we all need to be more cynical and understand that even some of these people on social media, are they being paid? Who's being paid and who's being played? And that's the piece of this that I think is very important, that Trump got it because of his background. Think of his background as somebody who was, he went to those fights. He went to the boxing match, all of that we saw over the weekend. So he understood the media. He got it that people were being played. But there are a lot of people like this woman. She never understood that Rachel Maddow, what does she make a year? Is it $9 million? Is it $20 million for working like Monday? Seriously? Like 1 or 2 days a week. Seriously.
Maybe cuddle or hold your hand.
Look at her.
Or give you a kiss. Aww. I bet you one of your girlfriends would do it. Okay. And you don't even have to really be gay.
So she's basically begging for a hug, and her boyfriend, who probably broke up with her, and she's this person is we should be worried about this person. So all of these people online, maybe Mika and Joe as a service and people like them should have maybe a hotline where people could call in, talk to an actual certified psychiatrist or counselor, and help talk them off of this wall. Because this mental health crisis, people, this is through the roof. And the media, and that's why some of you would say to me, Dawn, why are you so nice? When somebody would call in, they're like, I'm a Democrat, I hate Trump, da-da-da, and I was polite and I listened, because seriously, people are on edge. It's not good we need to come together. Now, this election is over. Trump is going to make America great again. He is. It's going to happen. And when you see that, no matter what your politics, you're going to go, oh, thank God, things are better. But until then, I just feel like we have to understand there's a crisis. It's a
All I
mental
have to
health
say
crisis.
is good luck getting laid. Especially in Florida, because me and my girlies are participating in the 4B movement. That's my next plan.
And they're shaving their heads. Like, that's not normal behavior. Dan, do you have any, I don't know, ex-girlfriend? I know Maisie is like your wife is amazing.
I have one, yeah.
But you have
yeah, I could see.
You need some help.
Yeah. And it's just sad because now that you've been lied to and you recognize do they recognize they've been lied to? And you have Morning Joe out here and Mika that are kind of, weaving the line of, oh, we're going to visit him, but he's still a horrible person. I don't know if these people who have been so mentally damaged by this will have a chance to normalize.
Right. And I do think we have to understand that seriously and wrap our brains around it. But it's why, for how long how many years have you said, Dawn, why are you so nice to people and they're bashing? That's why. Because I honestly believe the media is complicit in all of this and it's horrible. And I refuse. Me, I have never made fun of or called names or called somebody deplorable because of their political beliefs. It's just not what that's not what we're about. I hope the country can come together. We'll make America great again, look for a better day, celebrate. And on that note, I know I have to take a break. Be right back.
Wawa's hot turkey is back, and it's bringing the comforting flavors of the season with it. Sink into savory stuffing, cozy up with sweet cranberry sauce, and relax into some warm, buttery mashed potatoes. Grab your pillows and blankets because hot turkey is back. Plus, get your cozy cravings satisfied from the comfort of your bed with $0 delivery when you order on the Wawa app. Try the Wawa Gobbler today in a hoagie or bowl for a limited time. Gotta have a Wawa.
Odyssey's I'm Listening is our commitment to more mental health conversations. Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses talks about using exercise to combat his anxiety issues.
The working out is key in my case, and I force myself just to do 100 push-ups. Even if you run just around your block, you build yourself a place to go.
Talk saves lives. For more mental health conversations, visit imlistening.org.
Let's talk about your mental health, free from fear or judgment. Most people experience feelings of depression, anxiety, grief, and hopelessness when dealing with stressful life events. If you need to talk, call or text 988 to connect with a trained professional who is ready to listen and provide support 24/7. The Philadelphia Crisis Line has trained counselors who get it. They understand that sometimes you need an ally, someone who will listen and get you the support and services you need. Call or text 988 because you matter.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Woohoo! Another girls' night out.
I'm so stressed from shopping, I couldn't find anything.
Have you tried shopping jewelry television, JTV?
I don't know. Everyone in my family is so different.
JTV has thousands of jewelry styles. Artisan, diamonds, pearls, colored gemstones, watches, even gift sets. I shop on TV and online.
New JTV customers save up to $40 when you shop jtv.com/radio.
Now, can you relax?
Yes. Another round?
Yes.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Better water leads to a better everyday experience. With treated water from Martin Water Conditioning, you can experience silky smooth skin, refreshed hair after a morning shower. Your clothes and towels feel softer. They're no longer battered with minerals. Your coffee and teas taste better. Your appliances using water lasts longer. Even before you leave your home, your entire morning experience is improved with better household water. If you want to experience better water, call Martin Water Conditioning 800-887-7555 or go online at martinwater.com.
Inflation, recession, interest rates, the Fed. How do you make sense of it all? Join Joe Yakovich on The Heart of Your Money, Sundays at 9 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
Station WPHT AM, an equal opportunity employer, is dedicated to providing broad outreach regarding job vacancies at this station. We seek the help of local community organizations in referring qualified applicants to our station. Community organizations that wish to receive our vacancy information should contact Lisa Morton at WPHT AM by calling 215-234-2400. In addition, all listeners are encouraged to visit odysseyinc.com/careers for an online listing of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
You can make my life worthwhile. I can make you start to smile.
Yeah, they're not smiling in Sweden, where we've learned that citizens received some 5 million pamphlets that were sent out by the government to residents urging the Swedes to prepare, get ready for the possibility of World War III.
Oy.
Instructions on how to stockpile food, seek shelter during a nuclear attack, prepare for Armageddon as fears grow of a conflict between Russia and NATO. Oh, my goodness.
Jeez.
Talk about overkill.
Wow.
I don't know.
You think so?
Well, that's terrifying. I mean, it's making international news at this point.
Yeah.
We've been covering for you the Lake and Riley murder trial updates since Friday. Her mom in court sobbing as those graphic details and some of the officer's body cam, the 911 calls we've been talking about. And then the other big story that I've been covering, actually broke the story this morning at 6 a.m. when we started out in Kale & Company, that the recount had begun in Pennsylvania. All counties must begin across Pennsylvania by Wednesday, but this is the recount demanded by the incumbent Democrat Casey Jr. and, of course, Senator-elect Dave McCormick. Well, the RNC attorneys, and I've been talking about this a lot, we have Linda Kearns in court at 1 o'clock today, actually, in one of those battles, but we have attorneys in court tomorrow. We're still waiting for the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruling. That was filed last Thursday. So we have all of this to look at and to go over. And I'll just remind you how different it was when one Al Schmidt, Secretary of the Commonwealth, boy, he seemed, Dom Giordano, Secretary of the Commonwealth, Al Schmidt, he really had a different reaction to Trump when Trump wanted to take some of the results and take those things to court. Quite different reaction.
Well, we'll get that. He's up at 12:30 today, Dawn, to talk about that. He did tweet out about Diane Marsaglia, and I have a commission that Diane Marsaglia sits on. I'll reveal in a moment. It's almost too much to imagine based upon what she said about, I'm going to violate the law. So what? I don't like precedent. The Supreme Court doesn't either.
Yeah. Yeah. So if they know that the recount was triggered because of counting illegal ballots.
Right.
Then how is the recount legal?
I'm going to ask about that.
Ooh.
Is that the number, though?
Yeah,
Do those numbers, or is it tainted, or we don't know if that's what triggered it? But Republicans shouldn't have to sue. Casey should have to sue if he wants to count.